Federal spending is a very touchy and complex subject. What money is allocated where is a question that is almost impossible to answer. With elected officials constantly adding to bills to give little gifts to their constituents at home, the money becomes completely untraceable. This is exactly how plans for a $400 million bridge in the middle of Alaska came into existence. Our story begins in Alaska, a land with a lot of trees, a couple of moose, and maybe a few people, although many sources dispute this fact, we can never be sure. In the small tourist town of Ketchikan, city officials were having trouble transporting people from the city's airport on nearby Gravina Island. The ferry system that they had been using was not considered efficient enough. Thus, the city demanded what they called a hard link between the city and the island, a bridge that would connect the city to the island where its airport was located. Before talking about the bridge itself, it is essential to understand the concept of a congressional earmark. Earmarks are basically little add-ons added to massive congressional spending packages. These are usually added by senators or representatives to benefit their home states by adding funding for local roads, bridges, etc. Tenure is also important. The longer you've been in Congress, the more lucrative your earmarks will be. It was through this semi-corrupt system that the Bridge to Nowhere came to be. The controversy surrounding the proposed bridge began in 2006 with a federal infrastructure spending bill that included funding for the bridge. Alaska's congressional delegation, primarily Senator Ted Stevens and Representative Don Young, both of whom had served in their positions for several decades, were able to exploit their tenure in Congress to secure federal funding for the project. The main area of concern in Congress and in the national press was the extremely high estimated cost of the bridge and the extremely limited usage. The bridge was going to cost an estimated $398 million, was about as long as the Golden Gate Bridge and as high as the Brooklyn Bridge, and all just to connect a town of about 8,000 people to an island with less than 50 people. These circumstances led to its now infamous nickname, the Bridge to Nowhere. When Senator Tom Coburn attempted to add an amendment to the bill that would remove funding for the bridge, proposing instead to use the money for relief for those affected by Hurricane Katrina, Senator Stevens was not happy.
Sir, put the Senate on notice. I've been asked several times today, will I agree to this version or that version of the Senator's Oklahoma amendment? No! No, I will not. Plain, why couldn't we prevent an amendment doing to our state what's never been done to another state? Never! Now, this is not the time to start this process. And I'd urge my friend from Oklahoma to reconsider this, to reconsider what he's getting us into. The amendment may pass, but if it does, the bill will never pass. If it does, I'll be taken out of here on a stretcher.
Eventually, debate around the bill would go beyond the grounds of Congress and into the upcoming 2008 presidential election. In 2006, at the same time the initial transportation bill was passed in Congress, Sarah Palin was campaigning for the governorship in Alaska. While campaigning in Ketchikan, the city where the controversial bridge was to be built, Palin voiced her support for the bridge, stating that it was a good idea to go forward with the project. However, it wouldn't be long before Palin flip-flopped completely on the issue. Barely 2 years later, when she took the GOP nomination for vice president, she said this at the Republican National Convention.
I told the Congress, thanks but no thanks on that bridge to nowhere.
While Palin's PR reps claim that she dropped her support for the bridge due to rising cost estimates, the citizens of Ketchikan felt betrayed, and many accused her of abandoning Alaska to pursue national office. Palin was also criticized for being dishonest about the whole situation. Despite claiming that she said, thanks but no thanks, the Alaskan government still took the money, but just didn't spend it on the bridge. All of this contributed to the downward spiral that was the Bridge to Nowhere. After years of dwindling support, the Alaskan government finally decided to move towards canceling the project. In 2015, the city of Ketchikan decided to abandon the idea of the bridge and pursue a more realistic approach of an improved ferry system. This project was only a small part of the larger question regarding congressional earmarks, and where federal dollars should go. However, as long as funding remains virtually untraceable, problems will continue to persist for the foreseeable future.